Welcome back, brothers and sisters. I am Braden. This is Langley Outdoors, the place where we not only talk about what's going on in the gun world, our beautiful country, and how we're going to chart a course towards freedom every single day. And thank you for showing up because I've gotten, the dish prepared for you. It is a big old bunch of what the actual F. What would you do out there in the universe of freedom if I were to tell you that the ATF got smoked in court by the GOA last year, and the court and the judge, in their infinite wisdom, decided that GOA couldn't talk about it until right now? Guys, this just happened. Everything I've got for you is linked in the description box below. Of course, make sure you hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn the notification bell on because YouTube is doing that thing where they accidentally unsubscribe people. So make sure that your prescription to freedom and your license to backhand tyranny is active. Let's get into this. Oh, beautiful people. Make sure you follow me on X, by the way. All right, let's go. So here we go. This just dropped today. You cannot express how insane this is. Let's just dive in though. This is an update from the Gun Owners Foundation. GOA and GOF have been gagged from printing the news uncovered in a Freedom of Information Act for 18 months. Wait until I show you what this court document says. Despite a recent ruling by the DC Circuit prohibiting such gag orders, Biden holdovers and the Justice Department are asking the court to extend this First Amendment violation. Let me just get into the actual document right here. Again, everything is linked, and make sure you send this out so people can be aware of the shenanigans. But I've got another document after this one. Let's get in. Okay, so this is important for the language here. Plaintiffs is GOA, good guys. Defendant, ATF, bad guys. It's as simple as I can make it, okay? Plaintiff's motion to lift the protective order. So this is GOA saying, could you stop making me not talk about it, please? Plaintiffs, Gun Owners of America Incorporated, and Gun Owners Foundation, by and through counsel, hereby file this motion to lift the court's protective order initially entered by the court on September 18th of 2023, so 18 months ago, okay? And since then continued temporarily by the court's order of October 30th, 2023. So from September all the way to now. That's of 2023, up to now. It's 2025. This case concerns a Freedom of Information Act, which is ironic considering the context of this, request plaintiffs submitted nearly 4 years ago to the ATF seeking records about a secret government surveillance program which unlawfully and unconstitutionally monitors and records the firearm purchases of American citizens who are perfectly eligible to purchase and possess firearms. As part of its document production in this case, defendant negligently left certain information unredacted and then demanded plaintiffs claw back or return the information that had been voluntarily transmitted to them. Let me break that down into English. GOA say, Freedom of Information Act, gimme, because you're bad. ATF goes, fine. And then when GOA looks at it, the ATF goes, ha ha ha, we didn't redact anything, so you got to give it back. Hey, court, and tell them they can't say anything. And the court did it. That's a pretty good summation. Let's continue. Because I swear the way that this stuff works sometimes, oh man, this is the entire document. Act, this court granted defendants' request, issuing first an order to sequester, that's the September 18th I just showed you, and subsequently a protective order that the plaintiffs and their counsel shall sequester and shall not disseminate, disclose, or use for any purpose those records or the content of those records. So the court, at the ATF's request, said every bit of ATF documentation that you got through a Freedom of Information Act. Again, this is a this is a government agency who works for the people, having to wait for a Freedom of Information Act to get granted to them. They give the documents over, and then they say, but we didn't redact it. So now, hey, court, don't let them talk about it for 18 months. Guys, this is about a literal tracking program of gun owners. This is a constitutional right, a core principle of the Bill of Rights. Yeah, you can't talk about it because we didn't redact something, even though it's a Freedom of Information Act, which is ironic. Court, can you make it an unfreedom of Information Act? God, these people. Let's continue. Whew. Get your frosty. This is why we're winning, by the way. This right here, this kind of shenanigans. The more you spread this out, the more it looks insane. Yeah, because it is. Thus, for the past 17 months, the plaintiffs, members of the press, have been prohibited from printing the news, while plaintiffs' lawyers have been prohibited from communicating with their clients, advocating for their clients' interest, or even accessing portions of their own attorney work product. Further, this court has denied plaintiffs' repeated request to consider the basis of its order, declining to hold a closed hearing or to consider the document production in camera. Thus, this court has prohibited plaintiffs and their lawyers from speaking and printing the news without knowing the content of the speech or the news being prohibited. Meanwhile, this court has not resolved defendants' this. So they put a temporary hold on it. That's why the language was there. And then the judge didn't offer a final solution, kept it temporary for 18 months at the behest of the ATF, and GOA and GOF weren't allowed to talk about it, and kind of left in this little limbo area. You remember that thing that we talked about with the DOJ and when they were going through the court cases because they had a new administration and they kind of left in limbo, and that was the big concern? Exhibit A. This is the big concern. They put it in limbo and then they can't do anything. But let's continue because there's even more. Okay. Again, I digress. That decision is directly on point to the facts of this case and clearly explains that this court lacks authority to enter a protective order like the one currently in place. Nevertheless, rather than concede defeat, defendant, this is the ATF, doubles down. I'm personally shocked, asking this court to continue its order against plaintiffs and their counsel while further briefing occurs. Because the D.C. Circuit's opinion governs and forecloses the protective order in place here, this court should deny defendant's motion for summary judgment and lift its protective order. So what they are asking is quite simply, lift this piece of crap. Because the population whose rights are affected need to know what was in the Freedom of Information Act on a government entity which directly correlates to our rights. And hey, judge, stop being a dill hole. That's not lawyer speak. That's Braden speak. Sorry. But let's continue. Again, you can read all the argument stuff all you want. I'm going to jump right to the conclusion because ATF lost and GOA won. The conclusion. The D.C. Circuit has squarely rejected the notion that a court holds the inherent authority to impose limitations on the use, dissemination, or reporting of inadvertently disclosed FOIA, which is Freedom of Information Act. Upon consideration of plaintiff's motion, again, that's GOA, to lift the protective order and the entire record herein, it is hereby ordered that plaintiff's motion is granted. Ayah! ATF, take a loss. Court, what the heck are you doing? Freedom of Information Act, let it flow. So where we sit at the end of this, what we're looking at right now is GOA and GOF having to be put on hold for 18 months is now allowed to actually speak about what they found. I'm sure I will get a copy of it and we will be discussing it further. But the big point here is the ATF made the boo-boo. The ATF wasn't showing any of the goodies, and the ATF said to the court, hey, don't let them talk about this, and the court obliged to a temporary measure that lasted 18 months, of which a court has now said, no, that's stupid, let's not do that, you're free to go, GOA, GOF. Guys, this is the problem. This is the system. This is the abuses of the system. Everything is linked. Please send this out to everyone that you know, and I will see you on the next Expedition of Freedom. I'm Braden. Later.